Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm finally reviewing this movie. I watched it earlier this year in theaters. Alright, so yeah, it's a 2013 movie once again. It's Star Trek Into Darkness, the sequel to the 2009 film. Apparently I watched it in the theaters, but I do not remember anything about the 2009 film. But luckily I don't need to in order to watch this film, which is a definite positive, but let me get the specifics out of the way first. Alright. It was directed by J.J. Abrams and produced by J.J. Abrams, Brian Burke, Damon Lindelof, Alex Kurtzman, and Roberto Orci, and it was written by Roberto Orci, Alex Kurtzman, and Damon Lindelof, and it's based on Star Trek, of course, by Gene Roddenberry, and it's starring, I'll move down to the cast down here, it's starring Chris Pine as Captain Commander James T. Kirk, and Zachary Quinto as Commander Spock, Zoe Saldana as Lieutenant Nyota Uhura, and Benedict Cumberbatch as Khan. So basically takes the character Khan from The Wrath of Khan, or the Star Trek The Wrath of Khan, but it's a way different Khan though, trust me. And Carl Urban as Lieutenant Commander Dr. Leonard Bones McCoy, and Simon Pegg as Lieutenant Commander Montgomery Scotty Scott, and John Cho as Lieutenant Hikaru Sulu, and Anton Yelchin as Einstein Pavel Chekhov, and Bruce Greenwood as Admiral Christopher Pike, and Peter Weller as Fleet Admiral Alexander Marcus, and Alice Eve as Lieutenant Doctor Carol Marcus, and Leonard Nimoy as Spock Prime, the original incarnation of Spock, and he was actually the guy who played Spock in the original series. Alright, so which is fucking awesome. Alright, I'm surprised the dude's still alive though, honestly. And Noel Clarke as Thomas Harewood, and Nazine Contractor as Rima Harewood. And there's a whole bunch of supporting cast and cameos here, but I'm not really gonna get into those though. So now let's get into what Star Trek Into Darkness is all about. The USS Enterprise has been sent to the planet Nibiru to study the development of primitive cultures. Captain James T. Kirk and Spock attempt to save the planet's inhabitants from a volcanic eruption. When Spock's life is endangered, Kirk violates the Prime Directive, exposing the Enterprise to the planet's civilization during his rescue. After being summoned back to Earth, Kirk loses command of the Enterprise, and Admiral Christopher Pike is reinstated as its commanding officer. When a secret Section 31 installation in London is bombed, Pike, Kirk, and Spock meet up with Starfleet commanders to discuss the hunt for the bomber. Rogue Starfleet agent John Harrison. Hold on a second here. Alright. Kirk destroys it, but wait. Alright, the meeting is attacked by a gunship piloted by a jump ship piloted by Harrison. Kirk destroys it, but Pike is killed. Harrison escapes by transporting to the Klingon homeworld in Kronos. Kirk is reinstated as the Enterprise's captain and is ordered to find Harrison by Admiral Alexander Marcus. Marcus supplies the Enterprise with prototype long-range photon torpedoes, ordering Kirk to fire them at Harrison when he is within range. Montgomery Scott resigns in protest when he is forbidden to inspect the weapons. Pavel Chekhov is promoted to chief engineer, and Dr. Carol Wallace, a science officer with expertise in the new weapons, joins the crew. Spock, Dr. Leonard McCoy, and Uhura convince Kirk that it would be better to capture than kill Harrison so he can be tried. And there's so much more with the plot, but I'm just going to skip, because at the end of the movie, a year later, Kirk addresses a gathering memorizing the events, reciting his "where no one else has gone before" speech. Khan is released in his cryogenic pod and stored with his crew, and Carol joins the rebuilt Enterprise, and it departs on a 5-year mission. Alright, so now the movie was very good, although I did have some problems with it. But basically, Khan in this movie was frozen for many years, along with his old crew. And when he gets unthawed by the commander who he kills, I forget his name, basically he's the commander that he kills by literally squishing his head in front of his own fucking daughter. I'm not kidding. Alright. And he's unthawed by accident, and now he's out for revenge, but mostly he wants to save his crew. So really this whole thing isn't completely black and white in this movie, because really his main objective is to save his own crew, because he doesn't want anything to happen to his crew. Alright, now for the most part I liked all the characters in this film, except for that chick, oh god, I have to look up her name. Hold on a second. God damn it. Alright, here she is. It's Dr. Carol Marcus. It's not that I hated this character, it's just that she didn't really serve much of a purpose. I mean, I felt kind of bad for her father when her father's head got crushed in by Khan with his bare hands, mind you. But I didn't really feel too bad for her. She was just kind of there, if you know what I mean. So that's definitely a flaw in this movie. I felt the movie didn't really build up her character at all. And she wasn't a bad character, but she wasn't a good character either. She was just kind of okay. She was just kind of there, you know. I mean, it wouldn't have affected the movie at all if she was taken out, in a good way or a bad way. So that's why I kind of say I feel that her character is a flaw of this movie, but it's not a huge detriment to this movie. Alright, she's really the only character that I kind of didn't like. All the other characters that you might not like too much are pretty much just side characters. Alright, they don't really... But she was brought up as one of the main supporting characters, so that's kind of why I have to bring her up. Alright. Other than that, dear God, it's like, what? I guess I can... Another complaint I have for this movie is the I felt it went kind of fast. The pacing to me felt kind of off, and I felt it went way too fast. It's like they explain stuff so quickly, and it doesn't give enough time to sink in. I know this is a feature film, but for God's sake, have some fucking lenience. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's definitely my biggest complaint about this film is the pacing. The pacing was definitely off to me. Alright, but other than that, it was great. The action scenes were so fucking intense. And, you know, the story was really good as well. I need to go back and rewatch the first one, though, so I can remember what it tells about, because I don't remember any fucking thing about it. That's bad. But, yeah, and I especially loved the new Spock in this movie, and when he and that scene where he screamed Khan's name, after he thought that his captain was gonna die, you knew that shit was about to go down, okay? Like, seriously fucking wow. That was probably my favorite scene in the entire fucking movie. And I also love the cameo of the previous Spock, too. And like I said, well, I'm surprised that guy's still fucking alive today. He has to be fucking old by now. So yeah, but I did love that cameo. It was a nice kind of homage to the original series. And to tell you that it seems like this series kind of does take place in the same universe as the previous Star Trek series is. It's not a completely different universe because there's the previous Spock. You know, this is just a new crew, but in the same universe, which is a really nice thing. Alright, but overall, I pretty much have to wrap up this review now. There's not really much more I can say. The acting was spot on. Every character, even the minor characters, pulled out their A-game acting, and it was amazing in this film. Alright. And the effects were, well, the effects, I guess I do have to kind of complain about a little bit. The effects were really good, but they could have been better. I've seen better effects in sci-fi features before and sci-fi TV series and whatnot. The effects were really good, but they could have been better. Alright, but for Star Trek, they are probably some of the best. For Star Trek, they are probably some of the fucking best. Alright, I will give it that much in terms of the effects. So yeah, but I'm going to give this movie an 8.5 out of 10 as a final rating because I think it's still a really great film despite the flaws that I mentioned about the film. I still think it's a really great film that you need to try out if you're into this story, or if you're into Star Trek and you're on the fence about trying these new films. I recommend that you try it out. It's great. It really is. So yeah. Anyways, overall, hope you enjoyed this review, guys. See you after, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.